Well, I'm back. This is 12 January 2021, Hump Day, Wednesday. Out here trying to get my old tractor working. This is our 1948 Ford 2N. Actually, there's nothing really wrong with the tractor, just have to replace the points. Might have to replace the plugs as well, but right now I'm just going to replace the points. I got that about a year ago. Found it on actual marketplace on Facebook for a pretty good price. And part of the purchase decision was that I like the way the old Ford looks. It's a 1948 piece of American history, and the other part was we actually need the blade and the tractor to scrape around here and our private drive whenever it snows. Been fortunate this year in terms of not having too bad of snow. The unfortunate part of that is that it looks like we're headed into another bad part of the drought because we haven't had enough snow in the mountains or in the valley, which affects our water table. This is my 1994 Ford that I bought when I was stationed at Fort Campbell. First truck I ever bought. Bought that in Hopkinsville, Kentucky when I was in 101st. I ended up buying this 1997 F150 from the same guy that sold me that Ford. This truck has been a workhorse. Over 300,000 miles. Towed that 1967 Mustang that belongs to my wife and my 2001 Sporty cross country multiple times with the number of moves we made with the Army. This truck also spent 3 years in Germany when I was stationed there, so it's been on the Autobahn. That's where I found out that at about 95 miles an hour the truck just will not go any faster. I tried to pass some vehicles on the Autobahn and got a bunch of Germans and BMW and Mercedes station wagons really angry at me because I couldn't go fast enough to pass over 10 miles an hour past what the vehicle I was trying to get past by couldn't make it over with a fast enough speed. So I had a bunch of angry Germans giving me their sign of a flip off. There's my wife laughing at me because I couldn't pass a car fast enough on the Autobahn. So these trucks are governed at about 95 miles an hour. They just won't go any faster. And then there's her 67 Mustang. My dad's first truck he ever bought, that 69 Ford. Wrecked that in college. Dan Miner got to see that truck when it was running. Had a 360 in it. I'm going to drop a 390. We have a donor truck that's on the other side of my scaffolding. The 65 also belongs to my wife. Both that 65 F100 and this 67 Mustang are hers by way of her father. We dropped a 390 into that 65 about 4 years ago. And same thing with the tractor. We need to replace the points in the plugs. This 82 Chevy is my dad's truck that he left to me upon his death. I guess going on 3 years now. He bought this brand new in 1982. It has a 350 small block, which is a workhorse of a motor. I'm a Ford guy, but that Chevy 350 is. That thing's about bulletproof. I'm pretty sure it has about 279,000 miles on it. The odometers on these only goes 5 figures on these old trucks, so I'm pretty sure it's turned twice. I'm reading 79, so I think it's got 279,000 miles. It's got the 12-foot bed. My dad needed the long bed for all the material he used to haul. He's a general contractor. My wife and I have spent a good amount of money on this. We put a hookup for a trailer brake on this truck. We've had to replace the 4 shocks. We're going to have to replace the springs. Motor's still running solid, so all we did with the motor was we put in true dual exhaust and MagnaFlow mufflers and I believe it's pace setter headers on it, which has helped out quite a bit on the low torque. There's my wife getting us firewood for tonight. This is her second Subaru 1998 Limited Legacy. It's a good car. She traded work for this car, and the gentleman that she got the car from is a shade tree mechanic, so she dropped a new motor and I believe a transmission in it with him to get it running. So she did a lot of work on this car to own it. So I currently drive this old car whenever it snows, because it's hard to get these Subarus stuck. So I've started working on my tractor. It's probably going to take me, not being a mechanic, today and tomorrow, maybe Friday, to get it running. I got the battery charging right now. So I'll just do a quick walk around on my 2N. It's got a heavy duty blade, which is great because it came with, normally these tractors have a real light blade. You can see, if you're familiar with Ford 2Ns, this part is usually missing. This tractor still has it. It also still has the pipe that sticks out for the air cleaner, which is pretty cool. So I got a pretty good deal on this tractor. Had to replace both front tires. This tire's still good. The other one's dry rotted, but these old tractor tires, you can run them pretty good dry rotted. I'll probably replace the 2 tires this summer anyway. So we've replaced a couple of things. We had to put a new alternator in it. Problem with these alternators on these tractors, when you replace it from the generators they had, was this tends to hit the alternator when you're on uneven terrain. So it kind of knocked it around last year. And so I just had to buy a new alternator. It's not too bad of a deal. So I had a brand new carburetor. Had to replace this part right here because it wasn't idling right. Can't remember what that is called. I think it's the governor. Other than that, it's pretty solid. So mainly because of the way it looks, it's a piece of American history, but also we also use it to scrape our private drive. And then eventually I'll give a walkthrough of our property, but that's our house. My dad built that from the ground up. Finally finished it in 2004, started it on the side that we're living in back in, I think, 1973. So my wife and I are remodeling and living in that part at the same time. My mother and my sister and my mom's youngest sister live in this part of the house, which is about, I think it's just over 3,000 square feet of living space. My dad built that. So this is the last thing my dad built before he died. He built this shed about probably less than a year before he passed away. And he built this fence and the retaining / privacy wall about a year and a half before he passed away. So he was still working up till the very end. My dad could not sit still. He wasn't a drinker, so my dad was a workaholic. And this whole property here is all family. So when I was in Afghanistan, I show the Afghans pictures of this part of New Mexico where I live, and they would not believe me that this was the United States of America. So the way the Afghans, the way I saw them living up in the mountains with their tribes and their families, pretty close to the way we live here. This is all family. This whole private drive, even though each piece is all private property, it's all family. And in this small hamlet or village, whatever you want to call it, of Chimayo, pretty much if you're not a white person that's transplanted here, or somebody from south of the border, here legally or illegally, you're related. The old Spanish families here, we weren't too many people, and most of us are still from the old Spanish families. So everybody here in the surrounding areas of the valley are related. So I got cousins up and down this road. So when I used to see the Afghans and we used to visit the villages, we knew we were going to get hit going in or going out. But the thing is all they had to do was place a little walkie-talkie call to their cousin down the road or whatever member of their family, and they'd be waiting for us. And even though I had no qualms about what I did in Afghanistan, I could understand where they were coming from. And me and my team sergeant used to sit down and talk about it, because he was from the southern boy from the country. I think he was from either Alabama or Louisiana. And we both talked, because a lot of southern folks live like the way we do here with family, and we'd have done the same damn thing if we'd have been if we would have been them being here in the States and them being who they were. So anyway, I kind of get on tangential, if that's a word, when I'm doing my little talks here, but I plan to post regularly now that my wife got me this to keep me occupied. It's also kind of therapeutic. Not riding today. I'm hoping I can get this tractor up and running by tomorrow, late morning, so I can ride with Dennis the Menace. So I got my, not being a mechanic, I got the thick service manual there for a Ford 2N, and YouTube on my cell phone, so YouTube and the service manual will get me through it, I'm sure. And with that, I will say shut this down until next time. Hopefully I'll be able to do, the next time you see a video will be from riding with Dennis or riding by myself. You all have a good evening.